Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk back again with you guys for another episode of what is the Arsenal News Show. Join you every morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Thank you as always for making us a part of your morning routines. It's very much appreciated. Slightly short show this morning because I've got to head off to hopefully battle the traffic on the M25 to get round to London Colney for Arsenal's training session this morning. No, I'm not taking part. No, I'm not the replacement for Thomas Partey. Hopefully we see him back in the team tomorrow. Fingers crossed. But no, I'm going there to see who is there, who isn't there, and to give you guys all the latest updates from Arsenal's training session today. So slightly shorter show, as I say. Good morning to everybody joining us live in the chat box. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Good morning to Alpha, to Blackshine, to Paul, to Carlton, Amira, Maximius, Martin, Matt G, Sweating Merlot. Good morning to Gooner Jake and Arsenal Adventure. Good morning to Rob, Shari, Arasilki, Jimbo, Rich, Darren, Colin. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Very much appreciated. Yeah, it is very much appreciated. NSW, it's not my birthday, mate. You did this last time. It's not my birthday. Matt G says, please post a photo with Win the dog. Again, I highly doubt I'm going to be able to see him. It's her, sorry. I did that last time as well. It's a her. And I very doubt I'm going to be able to see her at London Colney. It's a shame. I'm a big dog person, and seeing Win the dog is definitely a dream. So fingers crossed that happens. Let's jump into today's stories, shall we? Very quickly. Katie McCabe is a genius, is the title of this slide, because Arsenal coming away with a 2-1 victory against Bristol City. Viv Miedemar back as well, which is a really, really positive thing for Arsenal as well. Fantastic stuff. But Katie McCabe only scores bangers. And if you haven't yet watched back the highlights of yesterday's game, I recommend that you do. Arsenal finally getting some better form after the disappointment at the start of the season. So yes, finally getting some wins. Still not clicking, still not flowing perfectly. But Kate McCabe was, thank goodness she signed a brand new contract as well, because we desperately need these goals to go in whilst we're struggling to click a little bit. But with Beth back, with Viv back, and hopefully Leah coming back in the next couple of months or so, fingers crossed, Jonas Eidevall will have no excuses, because the level of talent available to him is unbelievable in that Arsenal squad. So yeah, really good result and an important one to get on the road. So, and the kit, it's not for me, the kit, the Arsenal Women's Away kit, but certainly it's seemingly doing them plenty of favours. So hopefully that form can continue. Getting to Premier League action, and Aston Villa were the only real... it's strange on a Sunday to have such little football available to us, but Aston Villa put 4 past West Ham in a 4-1 victory. Arsenal, of course, play West Ham a week tomorrow in the League Cup 4th round, and Aston Villa are a team that Arsenal will be playing in the coming weeks, looking very good indeed. Douglas Luiz in particular getting a couple of goals. Really, really impressive performances so far this season. Ollie Watkins with another great goal as well. Great left-footed strike, certainly showing why I was certainly right to be saying that he is in the same category as Ivan Toney. The amount of times I had people leaving comments saying, how can you say Watkins is on the same level as Toney? I'm sorry. He's got more goals and assists in the last 2 seasons. And obviously he's playing this season when Toney isn't. But I don't get how he's not in the same bracket as Toney, because they are so very similar in their outputs. So yeah, without a doubt, Aston Villa are going to be a threat, it seems, with Unai Emery at the centre of things. Now, I wanted to include a little thing about Sergio Ramos, because Sevilla are Arsenal's opponents in the Champions League tomorrow evening in Spain. And they managed to not just hold Real Madrid to a 1-1 draw, but they were impressive. Very, very impressive, because Diego, the Sevilla manager, whose name has now annoyingly escaped me. I had it. It's Diego something. What is it? Let's scroll down. Diego Alonso. There we go. The former Uruguay coach. He's taken over Sevilla and has done a brilliant job since doing so. They had 17 shots against Real Madrid. And Toni Kroos even posted on social media saying, if you can't win, don't lose, which is kind of Arsenal's mantra for the game against Chelsea, and it kind of rings true for our game against Chelsea at the weekend as well. But Sevilla are going to be tough, but in particular Sergio Ramos. There's a few compilations going around of the 37-year-old who had a really, really strong display and is certainly going to be well up for Tuesday night's game. I think the last time that Sergio Ramos played against Arsenal, I think it might have been that. When did he move to Real Madrid? Has he played against Arsenal? I'm thinking about the Bernabeu, Thierry Henry in 2006, but he moved to Real Madrid in 2005. So yeah, it was. He did play in that game. I think that's the last time in a competitive fixture, because obviously we played them in pre-season a few times. I think that is the last time I can remember Sergio Ramos featuring against Arsenal in a competitive fixture. I could be wrong, but I think that's true. So maybe someone in the comment section or the chat box can tell me if that is indeed the case. But a long time coming, Sergio Ramos' next fixture against Arsenal, when Thierry Henry absolutely destroyed him last time. Let's hope that, how many years? 17 years later, and a 37-year-old Sergio Ramos can be equally as destroyed by the next person that we're going to be talking about and our headline story. I completely missed this in yesterday's, not only the breakdown that we did yesterday of the game, but I completely missed this in the reaction show, in the watching of the game, in my post-match pieces. I missed it, everything to do with this. And that's Bukayo Saka wearing the armband. How did I miss that? How did I miss Bukayo Saka picking up the armband in the game against Chelsea? It completely passed me by. I didn't comment on it. I didn't talk about it because I didn't even know it happened until I actually saw Bukayo Saka post this image of him wearing the armband, in which he tweeted saying, "An honour to wear the armband for the first time, my club." Is it just me, or does this photo look like the oldest photo of Saka ever in terms of like him looking old? I'm so used to seeing kind of this teenage Bukayo Saka that's never ever going to grow up, never going to look like a player in his mid to late 20s. But seeing this image of him wearing the captain's armband, it's like the first time I've seen Saka and thought, you know what, it's not going to be so strange when he's actually like 30 years old and coming toward the twilight years of his career. You can actually see it. I always struggle with the idea of seeing Saka as like a mid to late 20s player, because he always has such a baby face. But the serious tone of this with the captain's armband on it does make him look a good 5 years older than what I've ever seen him before. But yeah, it's a really, really good thing. It shows that leadership. I find it interesting that he got the armband, of course, maybe over someone like Declan Rice, even though I know he's only just joined the club. But yeah, you can absolutely see the growth, the maturity growing within Saka, and hopefully some more consistency and high quality performances. That assist for Trossard was excellent, and we hope that we can see it a lot more. Now, you don't have to hope that you can see a lot more of some safety and security in your life, because you can guarantee that in your lives with the use of NordVPN, of course, which of course is a fantastic VPN service that keeps you, as I say, safe and secure online, keeping those pesky Todd Bowleys from looking at your transfer targets that you've been looking at online, and of course gives you the superpower of changing your geolocation on your laptop, on your phone, on your tablet. All of these glorious things that we use in our day-to-day life need to have that assurance that you know what you're doing is safely private and that no one is looking at what you're doing, because I don't frankly want to know what you're doing, and I don't think you want other people knowing what you're doing. So make sure that you give yourself that protection. By going to nordvpn.com/Gooner, you can get yourself a significant discount off, of course, that 2-year plan with some extra months thrown in as well. And if you're not happy with the service for whatever reason, you can get a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. So without further ado, just go and do it. It's easy. It's so easy. Right. Let's go to part 2 and your questions for a very brief part 2 right after this. Before I jump into the questions, I do have a call to arms, a call to action, rather, probably a better way of putting it. But my wonderful wife is doing and competing. Competing is probably the wrong word. I mean, if she was competing in this, I mean, her running skills would be unrivaled. They're good, but I wouldn't say they're unrivaled. So let's say just partaking in the London Marathon that is going on next year. And she's doing it in support of a hospice near us in Rochester, the Wisdom Hospice, which looked after both of our granddads in their final days. I lost my granddad a couple of months ago. I think I discussed it on the channel. I don't know if I kept it private or not. I can't quite remember how open and honest I was about that. But I lost my granddad a couple of months ago, 2, 3, 4 months ago, I think it was. And I tried, I've really put that to the back of my mind, if I'm honest, and not really thought about it. And when my other half G told me that she was going to be supporting the Wisdom Hospice for not just in the memory of my granddad, but of course hers as well, it was a very emotional thing. And she asked kindly if I would mention this on the show, and I would have done it anyway without her asking, of course. But I want to just ask you guys, if you would like to support her on raising money for the Wisdom Hospice, the link to do so, to support her run at the London Marathon, is in today's video description. So if you can spare anything at all, if you can't, no problem at all. I understand that times are tough for a lot of people. So if you can't, I absolutely understand. There's no pressure whatsoever. But if you can spare anything, I would very much appreciate you supporting her and helping to get to her target, which is just over £1,000. I think we're already £500 there, which is great. But anything that you can do to help would be unbelievable. So thank you to everybody that plans on helping. And if you can't and you're just sending some well wishes, thank you to you people as well. Right, let's jump into the chat box then and tackle some of your questions. Paul says, should we be worried about Odegaard's drop-off in form? If it continues, sure. And I think it's not necessarily even form. I think it's more to do with the opponents and the type of games that he's actually struggling to get involved in. Because when we come up against Chelsea or City or Spurs, certain games where he's struggling to get on the ball as much, they're the games in which we don't necessarily perceive him as having the biggest impact in games. When we are dominant and in control and don't have as much kind of stifling of our middle third, he comes to life a lot more. He needs to find a way as well out of that and out of that struggle of not being able to get into the game as much as we want him to. But I do think that there is a lot to be said about what more the coaching staff can do to change that, how he can react and how he can change his game to help have more of an impact in those fixtures. So yeah, let's wait and see. Ray Beam says, Tom, what's your take on Chelsea's keeper Sanchez clattering Jesus with no penalty being awarded, and PGMOL's response or lack of response? I haven't seen any response, so I assume that there's been no response on it. For those saying the link's not in the description, just refresh. I added it during the stream, so you may need to refresh for it to pop up. So it should be down there. So just give it a quick refresh, and it hopefully will be underneath the VPN link. So there you go. But yes, certainly. Where was I? What was I talking about? The Let's scroll up because I've now completely lost my trail of thought. Yes, the Jesus penalty call. It's a penalty without a doubt in my mind, and hopefully we see some more about this discussed today. ESPN's Dale Johnson's VAR review hopefully will give his take on it. So let's see what he thinks about it. Louis says, in your walking football league, what player are you compared to in the Arsenal team? Probably Mohamed El Neni. A solid 6 out of 10 every game. Doesn't move that much. Can play a good pass and scores the odd screamer. That's it. I scored an absolute banger the other week. It was like ball comes across on the left-hand side. First time side foot from about 25 yards or so. Amazing power on this side-footed strike. It's not like I put my foot straight through it, but it's kind of a controlled out-swinging finesse into the bottom left-hand corner. It was a brilliant goal, if I do say so myself. MM says, should we see more of Havertz and centre-forward? Because 2 games of good hold-up play has led to goals. Yes, is the answer. I'd like to see him come on sooner. I'd like to see him used there. I'd like to see him play there maybe tomorrow night, I think, against Sevilla. So, yeah, let's wait and see if we do see more of that. The process is there a midfielder outside of the Premier League that you would consider to compete with Odegaard? In terms of, I guess, signing somebody to kind of push him a bit more. I guess we've kind of already got those players in Vieira and and Smith Rowe as well. I'm not sure we're really in the market for a number 10, an attacking midfielder. I'm not sure we are. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure. So let's wait and see. But I don't think we're going to see anybody come in to compete necessarily in the same way with Ødegaard. More than a wheelchair says, Tom, how are you staying so calm? I'm fuming about yesterday's game. I'm fed up of Raya already, and Zinni, I don't see why he's protected and loved so much because he's poor. I talked a lot about yesterday about how I was quite pleased actually in the end with the game. I was frustrated with the performance, sure, but actually there was a lot of positives to take from yesterday's game. I think we're just different types of people, mate, to be honest. I think I'm more of an optimist. I think you're probably more with respect, more of a pessimist. But if you go back and listen to yesterday's show, I talked in detail about why there's plenty of reason to be, what's the word? I suppose, kind of more open and pleased by some of the things that went on in yesterday's game, on Saturday's game. So I'd recommend going and listening back to yesterday's show. Hussein says, please take some bubble wrap with you to Arsenal's training ground for Thomas Partey. We can't afford to lose him again. Yeah. Hopefully he's there. Hopefully he's fully fit. Hopefully he's involved. Hopefully we don't have to see anybody not training, and that we can report that everybody is indeed available. Ayanle, apologies if I've pronounced that incorrectly. Why was Jorginho playing for 70 plus minutes with that performance? It's time to ask questions about the coach. Sorry? It's time to ask questions. Yes, the coach that's taken us from 11th to a title race in 3 years and has already put us into another title race, is currently joint top of the Premier League table, has improved our recruitment by no end, improved our philosophy by a ridiculous level, and taken us to a place where people wanted him sacked and are now really kind of hiding a little bit Homer Simpson style, where he kind of, shuffles back into the bushes because they're scared to come out the parapet, which you're not, to be fair, but I always appreciate these types of comments because they do light a bit of a fire in me when someone says, is it time to ask questions about the coach? Because these are the people that I beg to come on to a phone-in show and never show up. So, Ayanle, I submit the request to you as well. I would love to have you and others who share this opinion on a phone-in show. They never arrive. They never arrive. But I just find it crazy that some people still think that it's time to ask questions about the coach who currently has us joint top at the Premier League table. Mr. E says, who hasn't hit the like button? Great question. Is that you? Have you not hit the like button? Please make sure that you do. Robert says, how many other teams would have recovered like we did on Saturday? Poor performance and a very good result. Yeah, it was a poor performance. And as I said yesterday, you are going to have bad performances. You're going to have bad displays. You're going to have bad days. You are going to have days in which you just don't do well. It happened last season at Everton and we lost. It happened to Man City 2 weeks ago and they lost. What didn't happen to us when we had a bad day? We didn't lose. And that is a really, really important thing. And like Tony Cruz, as I mentioned in the first part of today's show, posting after their draw with Sevilla, if you can't win, don't lose. And we even nearly won as well, despite playing horrifically bad. So, yes, certainly, I think there's reasons to be positive. Other than the fact take a quick look at the league table. That'll give you plenty of reasons to be positive. Lay says, what can we justify spending so much money for someone to sit on the bench when we need backup in other more crucial positions? I assume that's Havertz, I guess. If you think about it, Nunez is costing 100 million euros and sits on Liverpool's bench. Jack Grealish cost 100 million pounds and is sitting on Manchester City's bench. It's not necessarily to do with money anymore. Arsenal need depth, and that means that a lot of what did I say? Did I say the wrong name? Who is Tony Cruz? Tony Cruz, not Tony Cruz. Come on. But yeah, as back to the point, lots of teams spend a lot of money on players that are on the bench. All around the world, it happens. Would I like to see more from? Would I like to see more from Havertz on the field? I'd like to see more impact from him. Yeah, of course I would. But it's going to take some time. Sometimes it's still really early. We're only 9 games into the season. Let's hope that we can see more from him. Rob Bob says, thoughts on why there was no Vieira in the squad after playing decent roles this season. With Ødegaard going off, he would have been an obvious swap. Now, he wasn't picked, not because he wasn't injured. There was no injury for Fabio Vieira. We haven't really been given much information at all. I have seen some rumours going around, but they're the type of rumours that I don't necessarily want to promote. There's nothing bad. It's just like, if it's a family thing, then I don't really want to comment on that in case that's just simply not true, because I don't really want to spread misinformation. So, but for whatever reason, he wasn't in the squad, and it was a tactical decision or it was a personal decision. He just wasn't there. But maybe it's that something that will change for tomorrow's game against Sevilla. We've got a lot of players, and most of those players are now fit. Timber is the only player injured. So, players are going to miss out. Maybe it's a rotational thing. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Steve says, hey, Tom, what do you think about my idea that the FA should change goal difference for incorrectly ruled out goals? Not the result, but the goal difference tally. Incorrectly ruled out goals would be a great stat. I don't know how it would be put into practice, Steve, if it is serious. But yeah, very, very interesting idea. I'm sure we've got plenty of examples as well because of how poor things are as well. Derek, hey Tom, it's my birthday today. Just wanted to swing in and say hi. Derek, I hope you have a fantastic day, fella. A genuine birthday there. Thank you for letting us know. And yeah, I hope you have a great day, mate. Enjoy yourself. Don't stick around here. Go enjoy your day. And I'm sure that you're going to get plenty of nice messages in the chat box. Always a keen member of our community. Amira says, so no one is going to talk about Tommy getting his shirt pulled off of his body from that corner. He's been so close to go a few times already this season. It will happen one day. I've spoken about it. I talked about it on Twitter yesterday. I've asked Dale Johnson to address it in his ESPN column today. Let's see if it is addressed. Hopefully it is. Amachi says, you ever wondered how we can change our dynamic a little by getting a winger to sometimes run in behind the side backs, the full backs, maybe that is, while the midfielders try getting those defence splitting passes? I think that it's difficult when teams drop in so much, because if you've got a deeper line, it's very difficult to run in behind to get those little defence splitting passes. On the counter, it's much, much easier. But I think it's something I'd like to see more, but I'm not sure the defence set up in a way that gives us the opportunity to do that as much. But I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. Matt G says, seriously, Tom, we haven't won every game and we haven't scored 100+ goals. We haven't even won the Audi Cup. Maybe it is time to replace Arteta. I haven't seen Ayanle since I replied to that comment and asked them to come on the show. Very typical. Very, very typical. So yeah, I hope to do a phone-in show. We're going to be doing a lot of them in November, by the way, a lot of phone-in shows in November. So if you want to come on and tell me I'm wrong about things, your chance is coming. Don't you worry. Anyway, I'm going to wrap the show up there. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure. I have to wrap things up early because, as I say, I'm off to London Colney to check on every single player to make sure that they're all there, that they're all fit, and they're all ready and raring to go for Sevilla tomorrow night. We'll hopefully bring you a preview show a little bit later on today as well. I need to get that sorted out. But please do stay tuned, stay locked in, stay with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. And as I mentioned at the start of the show, if you'd like to support my other half doing the London Marathon, you can refresh your stream, go to the link in the description. And if you would be ever so kind to donate anything, that would be really, really appreciated. Thank you to you all. Have a fantastic day, people. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe. Stay well. And as always, up the Arsenal.